We were complaining because art galleries and art museums and art curators did not show women artists or artists of color at all. 27 years later, it's now a no-brainer. The art world is not a meritocracy. It was not a meritocracy. It is subject to the same forces of corruption and unfairness and injustice as many other areas of human behavior and professions. But it's a no-brainer now. No one could possibly say that you can tell the history of American art culture and visual culture without the voices of women and people of color. However, there is a crushing glass ceiling that has to do with economics. In the 90s, the problem had become tokenism. Institutions were showing one woman artist or one artist of color and thinking that that took care of the problem. So we started asking the question, is tokenism a solution or is it a continuation of the problem of exclusion and discrimination? Now, it's an economic issue. We're realizing that American museums are run by entrepreneurs and by art investors. Not only do they invest in the art, and you have to have millions of dollars to invest in art, not only are they investing in art, but they're controlling the institutions that revalue those investments. And that's a really lousy way to tell the history of our culture. It's not really a history of our culture, it's a history of power. And that has really become obvious to us. Things that go on in museums, the insider trading, the conflicts of interest would not be tolerated in other avenues of commerce. I mean, art sales are not even registered. You buy a share of stock, you buy a building, you gotta register it somewhere. You know who it belongs to, what they paid for it. The art world is completely unregulated in the drug world, in the drug market. It's kind of parallel. And we have some people in the audience who could speak to that. So,
the drug world?
I'm sure.
Seriously.
So that's a little bit of how our work has changed.
It's important to remember that the Guerrilla Girls didn't start out to be a group. It really was, let's put up some posters on the streets of New York about these issues that we all seem to know about and nobody else seems to be willing to speak up about at this moment. So what we've done since is kind of apply our kind of philosophy of political art to just lots of different things that our gaze falls on. So, we've explored female stereotypes. We've done a lot of stuff about the film industry. We've done anti-war posters and other kinds of political posters.
Activism isn't just about identifying people who agree with you. It's about transforming other people's thinking. And that's extremely important. And knowing how to get into someone's brain and monkey with it, messing with it, is really, really important. And we were able to do that with humor. Instead of saying, you awful piece of crap, we would say, isn't this hilarious? I mean, traditional values about abortion, well, the Catholic Church didn't outlaw it until the end of the 19th century.
And it is the golden age of being able to do things like this. I mean, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do things in other ways. I mean, some of you are community organizers, work with kids and teach them kind of critical thinking and how to deal with the system. All those things are, equally, if not more important. But sometimes it's good to just get some maniac thing out there, be crazy, and just go for it. So I think as much as we're serious, I think there's a place for that too. So I hope everyone will do some crazy things, put it out there. Subversion can't be done in one step. We've been beating our head against the wall about these issues forever. And I think the important thing is do something and then do something else. You can never change everything. So you have to try not to get too demoralized or burnt out, but you have to still step up and do something else, because you may not be communicating it in a way that one particular person or one, or 100 people can hear it. But then, if you keep doing it, you kind of sneak in there, and a little bit later, you do reach more people. I think that's what happened to us. I think there was a lot of disbelief when we started out, and now the way we've honed our message. Well, it's not really a message, but it's like an arena to operate in and for people to think about. I think it does reach many more people than it reached in the beginning. I think the advice is really simple. Try to find a new way into every issue you want to talk about. Parody always works really well. Don't be afraid to be really out there. And our biggest piece of advice, I think, really is something that we do. We don't usually talk about it, but when we come up with some new, action or street poster or billboard, before we put it out there, we take the, just the mock-up of it, and we show it to some people who've never seen it before. So we'll just go up to you and we'll say, we won't say, do you like this? We'll say, what do you think this is about, and what is it trying to say? And very often, even, many of us do this work all the time. Nevertheless, very often, you don't quite hit it right. And I think that's helped us hugely, because we don't put anything out there that isn't market tested. Not really, but we try to do what we call kitchen testing.
Our work, as effortless as it might look, is very crafted. And what we've learned over the years is being angry is a great place to start, but it's not the best place to end. What you need to do is learn how to craft your activism and make it effective. There's a joy to the craft of doing fine activism.
So we just sort of throw things out, we try to put something out there and just see what happens. So there's so much we haven't done, there's so much that we should be doing. We're like a little corner that has this ability to do this certain kind of work, and we try to do it to the best of our ability, deepen our critique, extend our critique, like Frida was saying, to look at systems, not just individual tiny parts and statistics of things.
You get so frustrated, you take it personally, it eats you out, you inside, and then you figure out a way to shout out. We did it by wearing guerrilla masks, by being anonymous. That was the way we could be subversive in the art world. Not everyone will find that, that metaphor or that device helpful. But it feels so good to get it out.
It was great hearing what you had to say, and we wish you all the best with your work, your activism, and everything you do. And we're all in this together, so great, do